Let's begin. When is a super keyword used? Super keyword in Java is a reference variable that is used to refer parent class objects. The keyword super came into the picture with the concept of inheritance. It is used to refer immediate parent class construct, immediate parent class variable, immediate parent class method. Let's understand this with examples. Using super keyword with variables. The scenario occurs when the derived class and the base class has the same data members. In that case, there is a possibility of ambiguity for the JVM. Here, in this example, the parent base class is vehicle. Car extends this vehicle. In both the classes, we have a common variable max speed. And I have written one more method display to print the maximum speed. Here I am using a super keyword to call the maximum speed of the base class. If you see here, I am calling using super.maxSpeed. So it will call the base class max speed variable instead of max speed present in car class. Let's execute the code. If you see here, it gives the output of base class maximum speed variable, which is 120. Use super with the methods. This is used when we want to call parent class method. So whenever a parent and child class have the same name methods, then to resolve the ambiguity, we use the super keyword. Here in this example, I have created a class person. And the base class person is extended by the class student. Both the classes have the common method message to display some output. So to resolve ambiguity, I call the base class person's method message in the subclass using a keyword super. Here I am invoking the parent class message method super.message. Let's execute the code. If you see here, it is calling the parent class method message. Use super keyword with a constructors. Super keyword can also be used to access the parent class constructor. One more important thing is that super can call both parametric as well as non-parametric constructors depending upon the situation. Here I have a class person which is a super class and the sub student that extends the person. So to invoke the parent class constructor, I am calling a super with open and closed parentheses. Now it will invoke the parent class constructor. So when I call student s equal to new student, it will call student constructor. Inside the student constructor, I am calling the super class constructor using super keyword. Let's execute the code. If you see the output here, I am calling the parent class constructor, nothing but super class constructor, and display the output. With these examples, now you understand how the super keyword is used to refer parent class constructor, variables, and methods. What is the difference between string, string buffer, and string builder? String is an immutable class. That is, you cannot modify its content once created. While string buffer or string builder is a mutable class, means you can change its content later. Whenever we alter content of a string object, it creates a new string and refer to it. It doesn't modify the existing one. This is the reason that the performance with string buffer or string builder is better than with a string. Let's understand this with an example. If you see here, I have created three methods, concat1, concat2 and concat3, which are static methods, and I am passing the parameters string for concat 1, string builder for concat 2, string buffer for concat 3. Now let's understand what is happening around. In a main, I have initialized a string s1, that is just a normal string. I want to modify its content. So when I call the concat 1 method by passing the string object, internally s1 equal to s1 plus change. So as we already know, string doesn't modify the content because it's immutable in Java. So it will create one more s1 and it will write the content normal string change. So when I come here to display the output, the string s1 is not changed. Now I'm creating a string builder. s2 is equal to new string builder normal string. So when you call the concat2 method, string builder can change the exact place where it has been stored. So the content will get modified. And same for string buffer as well. Now let's execute the code. If you see the output, normal string has not changed for s1, for s2 and s3 normal string change. If a string is going to remain constant throughout the program, then use the string class object because string object is immutable. If a string can change and will only be accessed from a single thread, then use the string builder. If a string can change and will be accessed for multiple threads, use a string buffer because string buffer is synchronous, so you have thread safety. If you don't want thread safety, then you can also go with a string builder class as it is not synchronized. Why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java? Java supports multiple inheritance but not through classes. It supports only through interfaces. The reason for not supporting multiple inheritance is to avoid conflict and complexity arises due to it, and keep Java a simple object-oriented language. If we recall this in C++, there is a special case of multiple inheritance where you have multiple inheritance with two classes which have methods in conflicts. So Java developers decided to avoid such conflicts and didn't allow multiple inheritance through classes at all. Can a top-level class be private or protected? Top classes in Java cannot be private or protected. The reason for not making a top-level class as private is very obvious because nobody can see a private class and thus they cannot use it. Declaring a class as protected also doesn't make any sense. The only difference between default visibility and protected visibility is that we can use it in any package by inheriting it. Since in Java there is no such concept of package inheritance, defining a class as protected is no different from default. What is the difference between throw and throws in Java exception handling? Throw keyword is used to throw exception from any method or static block, whereas throws is used to indicate that which exception can possibly be thrown by this method. If any throws checked exception, then caller can either handle this exception or can rethrow it by declaring another throws class in method declaration. Throw clause can be used in any part of the code where you feel a specific exception needs to be thrown to a calling method. For example, like you can throw new exception. In throws IO exception, null pointer exception, etc. What is finalize method? Unlike C++, we don't need to destroy objects explicitly in Java. Garbage collector does that automatically for us. Garbage collector checks if no reference to an object exists, that object is assumed to be no longer required and the memory occupied by that object can be freed. Sometimes an object can hold non-Java resources such as file handling or database connection. Then you want to make sure these resources are also released before object is destroyed. To perform such operation, Java provides protected void finalized in object class. You can override this method in your class and do the required tasks. Right before an object is freed, the Java runtime calls the finalize method on that object. What is the difference between set and list interface? Set and list both child interface of collection interface. List can hold duplicate values, but set does not hold duplicate values. In list interface, data is present in the order you inserted, but in the case of set, insertion order is not preserved. What happens if you remove static modifier from the main method? Program runs successfully, but at runtime it throws an error, no such method error. Why method loading is not possible by changing the return type in Java? In C++ and Java, functions cannot be overloaded if they differ only in the return type. The return type of a function is not a part of the mangled name which is generated by the compiler for uniquely identifying each function. The number of arguments, type of arguments, and sequence of arguments are the parameters which are used to generate the uniquely mangled name for each function. It is on the basis of these unique mangled names that compiler can understand which function to call even if the names are same.